Chapter 374, Blue Blood, 2. To catch just one of me, 13 slaughter puppets had been sharpening their blades for a month. Constellation Killer, a synonym for terror among the constellations, recognized me as clearly a more powerful being, and had been preparing to hunt me down. I discard the memories of the past 30 days. This was the result. Coup. Coup. Hack. In the end, I vomited blood. It was the price paid for dispersing my aura to protect Fox and Shiny. Thanks to that, Fox and Shiny were safe. However, the aura that proudly flowed through my veins had dried up, and the aura that had filled my heart had also hit bottom. I'm going to die. This is it. I knelt down. No, let's die. Blood continuously flowed from my mouth. Let's die and return to the day before. I know what strategy the enemy will use, so I can counter it next time. Let's die. Dying is the only way to survive. Even amidst excruciating pain that wrung my head, I was searching for that lone path of life, no, a path of death. There's no aura left to block the next strike anyway. Don't block it. Let it be. I'm going to die. Cough. I spat out a lump of blood. And I waited for the 6th attack that was about to hit me. I hadn't expected a hunter as great as Constellation Killer to treat himself as the weaker party and me as the stronger, to attack me with all his might. But it was just this time. Only this time I hadn't known. Next time, in the next battle, I must. Cough. Coo, hoo. Why? What are you doing? The next attack did not come. Hurry up and kill me, please. I struggled to raise my head. Bright blue pupils. Pupils. 9 pairs of blue surrounded me from all sides, looking down at me. I will not kill you. What? What? I will not kill you, the sky that gathers screams. Out of the 9 slaughter puppets, 5 approached me. Right arm. Left arm. Right leg. Left leg. Each limb was grabbed, and even the nape of my neck was firmly pressed. My whole body was literally blocked by the puppets. I've done a lot of research on you. As they pressed on my nape, I couldn't even move my mouth freely. It was hard to breathe. No, it was a struggle just to breathe given how they blocked my veins. Many constellations have taken an interest in you. I went around to each of them, wanting to know the facts they knew about you. Only after I annihilated 9 constellations did your outline become clear. It seems that not only did they deploy all 13 bodies to catch me, but they also killed 9 constellations just for information gathering. This crazy bastard. You are strong. And you became strong too quickly. Coo, Hugh. It's abnormally quick to say you grew within a limited time. You might have immense talent, but I proposed a more rational hypothesis. Namely, that time is not limited for you. Damn it. I recalled the conversation I had with Constellation Killer before the fight started. We have definitely met before. I see. Are you a time manipulator? At that time, Constellation Killer had responded very plainly. I thought it was just his personality to be straightforward, but perhaps he had already suspected I possessed time powers even before the fight began. He had been so bland because he already anticipated it. Of course, I couldn't figure out how you were manipulating time. There were too many possibilities. However, no matter the case, it was clear that time was your resource and your strength. Thinking about it. Constellation Killer was always a hunter. He only went into battle after understanding who his enemy was, why they were strong, and what their weaknesses were. Already it feels like a long-lost past. When I first faced Constellation Killer on the 50th floor, didn't he also refuse to hunt monsters, saying, "To kill the one who dies split in half, as the name implies, one must precisely split in half. The true form of the screamer lies in its scream, thus kill it by drowning it in sound." A strategist who meticulously studied the enemy's weaknesses. That was Constellation Killer. And this time, Constellation Killer had thoroughly studied my existence before making his move. Therefore, I will not kill you, the sky that gathers screams. I will merely seal away your time. Sealing. How, exactly? It's simple. I will distort the space-time here from the outside world. And I will encase you in ice, leaving you here. This ice isn't ordinary ice. It's ice that will never melt. You will forever be trapped here where time has stopped, unable to escape. I will make it so. Damn it. To put a person in eternal torture, you say those words, quite calmly. I don't understand what you're saying. Constellation Killer tilted his head slightly and pulled a dagger from his pocket. You are not a person, are you? Whoosh. A chilling touch sliced through my chest and pierced my heart. Frost-stained claw, replica, begins to seal you. The dagger Constellation Killer embedded in my heart was made of ice. As someone who had roamed worlds for countless eons, he must have acquired a variety of bizarre items. The ice dagger, part of Constellation Killer's collection, produced extraordinary effects as soon as it burrowed into my chest. Warning. After the seal is completed, you will only be able to think with your consciousness. Your world will be sealed in a moment. Remaining time, 61 seconds. Crackle, crack dash, creak. Ice formed from the spot where the knife was embedded. First around the chest, then the collarbones and shoulders spread out like blue flower buds blooming. Even if you send a message to your comrades now asking for reinforcements, it's already too late. Senses fading. It's utterly impossible for anyone to arrive here within 60 seconds to save you. And after 1 minute, this stage will be isolated. I will make it so. And as my senses faded, I realized that I had felt this coldness burrowing into my chest somewhere before. Winter. What did you say? Martial World, the sealing technique used on the yellow dragon who stays at the Dynasty Lake, is this it? Constellation Killer slightly tilted his head. Yes. It's surprising that you know even that. While searching for ways to defeat you, I found this item. I used multiple items when sealing the yellow dragon who stays at the Dynasty Lake, and there are clear records that this item was used alongside others. How could I forget? This sensation. This coldness. This chill. None other than the ice and snow where my master's world was eternally frozen. The yellow dragon who stays at the Dynasty Lake was originally a constellation that ruled over my master's world. The dragon had a sword of compassion embedded in its chest and rotted away, unable to die for eternity. It was Constellation Killer's doing. At the moment I realized that not only the sword of compassion but also this item now embedded in my heart had been used by Constellation Killer when he sealed the dragon. So, the winter that killed my master's world was now trying to kill me. Remaining time, 21 seconds. If I still had any strength left to clench my teeth, the grinding sound would have echoed throughout this space. Remaining time, 20 seconds. Yes. Constellation Killer. I acknowledge it. You are a fearsome hunter. I finally understand why the Sword Emperor couldn't kill you, and how you managed to draw with him. This time I truly realize it. You, who deployed 13 bodies and poured all your effort, are undoubtedly on par with the Sword Emperor. You would not be outclassed even compared to the only one who reached the 99th floor. Remaining time, 19 seconds. So, he pushed me into defeat. Not a simple death, but a true defeat. If things continued this way, time would stop for me, the 81st floor stage would be isolated and fall away, turning into a deserted island unreachable by my comrades. Yes. If I had been alone. Remaining time, 18 seconds. If I had been a solitary being like you, I would have no choice but to face defeat. Remaining time, 17 seconds. Raviol. The sky that gathers screams sends a message to the Lady of the Silver Lily. I'm sorry. The sky that gathers screams requests death from the Lady of the Silver Lily. Please die now. Constellation Killer looked at me and tilted his head again. I don't understand. The ice now covered my entire body. It was cold. My whole body was cold. The only parts not yet wrapped in the eternal frost were my face, just my eyes and mouth. Constellation Killer was observing the bare skin of my face that hardly spanned a palm's width. Why are you smiling?
Ha!
Is that so? Am I smiling? The ice had crawled up near my lips, and I hadn't even noticed. But surely, my lips were curved upwards. It wasn't a sneer, but a smile genuinely born from happiness. Can you imagine? What? Someone who would die for you, not even 10 seconds after hearing the request. My left eye was covered by ice. Do you have such a person? My right eye was trapped in ice. No, you don't. The bridge of my nose. For hundreds of years, you had the chance but chose not to take it, always choosing to be alone. Eventually. That's why you lost to me, Constellation Killer. My lips. Remaining time. 5 seconds. My heart. 4 seconds. Just before freezing. A regressor's love EX activates. 3 seconds. My breath stopped. You share a timeline with the other party. The timeline ends. 2 seconds. Death closed my eyes before the winter could cover me. You have died. 1 second. In my head, 2 voices overlapped. Seal complete. You are sealed. You will return 24 hours earlier. Again. When I opened my eyes. What should we eat today? Well, I feel like having fish and chips after a long time. Ahaha, that's quite an unexpected choice. It was a place all too familiar to me. A communal living space. In the middle of a place where my comrades, friends, and family would gather whenever they wanted, talk whenever they felt like it, and eat whatever they craved. Sitting on the sofa, I opened my eyes. I had returned 24 hours earlier. What do you think, Master? The heretic questioner, sitting on the opposite sofa, turned to look at me. No matter what, fish and chips are a bit too much. Huh? Master, you look strange. Huh? Following the heretic questioner's words, the Black Dragon Master, the Count, the Venomous Snake, and the Crusader also looked at me. Those who had shared time with me and promised to share more were staring at me. It's true. You do look strange. Exactly. Like a tuna that thought it was biting into food but realized too late it was a plastic bag. Hey, what kind of face is that? Nisha. This is all because you suggested eating something bizarre like fish and chips. I'm convinced it would be better just to eat the French fries only.
Ah.
French fries sound good. Let's go with French fries. It's been quite a while. Back in the day when we were working hard, there were days when we had hamburgers for all 3 meals. That's a story from a very long time ago indeed. I smiled. Ahaha. Really? It seems unlikely that I would lose. Bambolina. Yes, master? Sorry, but could you bring me the alarm clock? The heretic questioner took out his smartphone and activated the alarm clock app. As he handed me the phone, he tilted his head in confusion. I will give it to you, but why are you suddenly looking for an alarm? Well, it's not exactly an alarm I need, but a stopwatch. Let's see here. I pressed the timer button. The clock, which had been at midnight, immediately started. I nodded my head with a smile. Yes, that should do it. Wait, let's see how long this takes. I don't know what this is about, but if Master needs it, then by all means, use it. Thank you. I leaned back into the sofa. My friends looked at me as if I were strange, but eventually went back to their chatter as if it were just another day. The menu for the night's snack was decided to be French fries. Venomous Snake went to the kitchen with Sylvia to fry the potatoes. 1 minute. A comfortable amount of time passed. 3 minutes. Crusader and the Count engaged in a lover's quarrel disguised as an argument. 6 minutes. The Black Dragon Master hit both of their heads with her flip-flops to stop them. 7 minutes. 8 minutes. 9 minutes. And when the phone screen marked 9 minutes and 21 seconds. Hey, you can't do this here. The outside became noisy. One of the 4 demon lords' voices, who was in charge of the dorm's security, urgently cried out. Thud. Thud. The sound of footsteps, not just one person's, but dozens, echoed through the hallway into the living room. The Black Dragon Master and the heretic questioner immediately stood up. Dressed in gym clothes and flip-flops, and even though the Black Dragon Master was missing one slipper, they both wore infinitely guarded expressions. They stared down the hallway from the living room door at the approaching footsteps. This is a place where the heads of our tower gather. It's problematic to behave like this no matter the situation. Shut up. You're noisy. Boom. The living room door was blown off. The friends, who were about to rush in thinking it was an attacker, paused when they saw who appeared in the doorway that had just lost its door. Their eyes widened in astonishment as they stared at the intruder. However, the intruder didn't care about the glares of the homeowners at all. With dozens of knights behind her, the intruder slowly turned her head to survey the living room. Our eyes met. The moment our eyes locked, I couldn't help but smirk. 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Raviol. For you, it was 13 minutes and 27 seconds. It has been proven that I am much faster than you. Gongja. Raviol smiled. Her red eyes half closed. So, which bastard do we need to beat down? Chapter 375, Blue Blood, 3. 3. Wait a moment. What on earth is going on? Black Dragon Master asked in dismay. The dormitory was already in an uproar due to Raviol's visit. For my friends, who were enjoying a peaceful evening after work, this was indeed an untimely disturbance. Could it be that something major has happened in the Empire? Like a rebellion or an ambush? That's why suddenly. A rebellion and an ambush both happened, and on top of that, there was a poisoning. Master of the Black Dragon. What? Really? And fortunately, all 3 incidents were resolved recently. Now, I am here for a different matter concerning Gongja. Raviol naturally sat down on the sofa and looked at me. With eyes that seemed to demand an explanation. Although she didn't show it outwardly, I could tell from the sound of her heartbeat and breathing that Raviol was quite uneasy. As for the different matter, even I don't know the details. I am the one who wants to ask what exactly is going on. Gongja. You who would be more reluctant to see my life taken once than to see yours severed 1,000 times. Why did you make such a request? I can't help but be curious. Before I knew it, not only Raviel but also all my colleagues were looking at me. Raviel demanded an explanation, and the colleagues wanted one too. I took a deep breath. This was the beginning of the strategy meeting. Yes, Raviel. If it were something that could be resolved by me dying 1,000 times, I would never have asked you for such a request. Then I would have risked never meeting Raviel again forever. The eyes of everyone in the common living room were piercing through my face. In 24 hours from now, I will be in danger of being permanently sealed. Silence fell. People's reaction speeds varied, but naturally, Raviel was the first to understand. She pulled out her fan and propped her chin with it, muttering, "I see, so that's what it was." Next to grasp the essence of my words, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, was the crusader, Patricia. Patricia crossed her arms and stared intently this way. Indeed. The enemy who came up with the most effective tactic against Kim Gongja has appeared. In 24 hours, does that mean you have just regressed a day? Yes. If someone is somewhat aware of your abilities, and if that person is sufficiently powerful and mighty, it's inevitable that you would face such a predicament eventually. Don't worry, Kim Gongja. Patricia's words helped the other colleagues gradually start to guess the situation. Count nodded with an
Ha!
And Black Dragon Master sighed with a
Ah!
Since I had revealed to these colleagues that I was a regressor, they understood quickly. Only Venomous Snake looked around cluelessly. Hey, what's going on? Why do you all look like you understand? I don't get it at all. It's simple, Liao Fan. Kim Gongja does not die no matter how many times he is killed, rather, he grows stronger with each death. Thus, the only solution is to seal him away without regard for the means. Patricia explained as if it were nothing significant. Isolating him so that no one else can help, and blocking him from taking his own life, effectively paralyzing him for a long duration. Ah. Oh. Yes. I see what you mean. But how did you understand what Gongja was talking about so quickly? Because it was a tactic included in the plans I had devised to eliminate Kim Gongja. It's a strategy I've concocted myself, so how could I not know? What did you say? Ignore it. It's a story that's no longer important. Patricia shook her head once and then looked at me. So, Gongja. Who is it? Who tried to seal you away? Just thinking about it is easy, but to actually execute it is extremely difficult. Is there such a formidable enemy? I nodded. Yes. The person is named Constellation Killer. An explanation about who Constellation Killer was continued for a while. Throughout my explanation, my colleagues' expressions grew serious. Even the worst fashion combo of gym clothes and three-striped slippers couldn't fully mask their grave looks. That's because my elimination would essentially mean the collapse of the entire lion world. It might sound arrogant, but realistically, my existence is too crucial for lion world. It's overly central. First, the 5 major guilds have settled past grievances and collaborated around me. Second, the Ejim Empire worships Goddess of Protection as a deity, and the Goddess of Protection calls me the hero and follows me. Thanks to this authority, I can intervene in the Ejim Empire. Third, the same goes for Raviel's empire. Effectively, the strategic marriage between Raviel and me ensures smooth communication between both worlds. Fourth, there's even no need to mention Aburka's world where he was born. I am the pillar of the lion world. The harmony between numerous different races and worlds solely depends on my life. It must not collapse, nor can its disappearance be permitted. Truly, it's a convoluted fate. Raviel broke the heavy silence. The constellation killer we are discussing is my ancient ancestor. Our family was originally commoners, but we quickly rose to the core of power after receiving the favor of the hero who saved the nation. And Constellation Killer left the family with the Wish Sword before he departed. Wish Sword. The very sword Raviel had thrust into her own heart while facing the mirror. I used the Wish Sword and became a constellation for a while. Because I became a constellation, my world was recorded in the apocalypse. Because it was recorded, Gongja, I was able to meet you. Yes, Raviel. Fate is indeed strange, I always feel that. And Kim Yul was the reason the director started the orphanage, and thanks to the director, I became who I am today. Isn't it a cause and effect that transcends strangeness and borders on the bizarre? Yes. I understand the strange fate. Anastasia, who had been frowning the entire time, spoke up. What are you planning to do now? Naturally, I plan to pay him back. With that one sentence, the night was over for us. We sat around a table in the living room, and the subordinates needed for the operation were summoned. The Count called forth, the cat that bit a gold coin. The enemy we were about to face was a natural predator of constellations. It was best to seek advice from a constellation's mouth. Constellation Killer. Meow. To be frank, it's difficult. In response to the question, what should we do to eliminate Constellation Killer, the calico cat waved its tail. Constellation Killer has officially cleared up to the 90th floor as a hunter. And hunters who have cleared up to the 90th floor are basically given their own sanctuaries. I know. It's like the Grand Library Sanctuary, isn't it? We just need to break into that sanctuary, don't we? Meow. That's true, but... The cats made a subtle expression. They exchanged glances with each other and then cautiously observed my reaction. That's where the problem arises. Screaming Sky Nim. No hunter to date, even constellations themselves, has set foot in Constellation Killer's sanctuary. No. There are hardly any constellations who even possess minimal information about Constellation Killer's sanctuary. Why? The essence of Constellation Killer's sanctuary is concealment. Concealment. Woof, more precisely, it's closer to ignorance. As you know, Screaming Sky Nim, Constellation Killer tosses away his memories more easily than a used tissue. Whether it's about his own life, what kind of person he is, or why he needs to go around killing constellations, no one knows, and probably Constellation Killer himself doesn't know well either. Therefore, ignorance is truly the essence of Constellation Killer. Woof. We do not know where he is. Even if he were right in front of us, we wouldn't know who he is. Even if we have the place he's at right before our eyes, it will probably be impossible to go there. I sighed deeply. Nobody recognized that child, and nothing has changed since Kim Yul sat by the classroom window. Snake. I looked down at the snake coiled around my wrist. Kiek? You know the coordinates of Constellation Killer's sanctuary, don't you? The snake flicked its tongue. The eye living in the labyrinth boasts that there is no sanctuary whose coordinates it does not know. The cats sitting on the table perked up their ears.
Ah.
Indeed. If it's Hishmith crits, we can probably know the coordinates. Ignorance is not knowing the truth, and secrecy is concealing the truth. Both share the commonality of the truth being ignored, meow. And Hishmith crits is a constellation that reveals the truth, or so to speak. The cat that bit a gold coin look at you with newfound interest. With Hishmith crits, there's hardly any world we can't roughly go to. We can buy anything if we are there. Woof. Really, you've only collected the most useful constellations, screaming Skynim. It's totally overpowered. Can we go if we just have the coordinates? I ignored the cat's sighs and asked. The snake confidently flicked its tongue more vigorously but then slightly bowed its head. The eye living in the labyrinth denies that. The eye living in the labyrinth compares it to seeing a military facility right in front of you but says breaking security to infiltrate it is a completely different issue. The eye living in the labyrinth confesses that it only knows that such a place exists, not how to get in there. As expected. Constellation Killer didn't hide a secret, but erased the memories that could become secrets altogether. The snake could sense that something was there but couldn't reveal what that something was. But I turned my head. What even Constellation Killer discarded and lost, I have by my side. Across the table, there sat the subordinates who had gathered here in response to the summons. Among them, I called the name of the man who would be key in this operation. Kim Yul SSI. You probably have the authority to enter Constellation Killer's sanctuary. Kim Yul, the origin of Constellation Killer, silently looked at me. That's right. I don't know how robust the security system of Constellation Killer's sanctuary was. Even if I knew, there was no guarantee it could be breached. However, it was too clear who the person that security would automatically let pass was. Our strategy is simple. Hishmith Crits will disclose the coordinates, and Kim Yul SSI will cross over using those coordinates. Kim Yul SSI, please establish a bridge for us. Then, an attack team including myself will immediately rush over. Understood, family head. If the enemy cowardly attacks with 13 bodies, then we will counter even more cowardly with greater numbers. You don't need to wait long until we arrive. One moment. Please hold out alone for just one moment. While Kim Yul was nodding briefly, the cat that bit a gold coin urgently opened its mouth. Wait, just a minute. Please wait, screaming Skynim. First. I understand that this person has access rights. But Constellation Killer's sanctuary is a place with a hierarchy of at least the 90th floor. Is that so? Meow. Of course. There are conditions to gain access to such a place. The cat stretched out its toes while exposing pink jelly. First. In cases where one's own sanctuary is provided to the tower. It's like how the one with tasty ankles connected his world to 20th floor, just as I have connected my to the 70th floors. Who is the one with tasty ankles? He is also known as Hamustra. Why are he called that? Is that really important now? Please focus on the story. It feels extremely important. To the extent that, at this moment, it seems like nothing else is important. Everyone wore expressions of intense concern, but the cat continued explaining regardless. Second. The case where one's own sanctuary is connected. Like the 60th floors. Usually, subordinate worlds are connected, but there are cases where one's own world is directly linked. The one with tasty knees is such a case. And who is that? Also called Musha. Tasty, is it? Are Musha's knees tasty? If the first is akin to a service duty to the tower, the second is closer to a business method for accumulating power as a constellation. They seem similar. Well, they actually are similar. As for this, Screaming Skynim will know more details when you actually reach the 90th floor. However, these two methods share a common aspect in a different sense. They imply that one can set their own access rights to the sanctuary. I nodded. Any other methods? Third is the administrator of the entire tower. For example, the pillars themselves provide access routes. The one who tastes like delicious liquor was caught by you using this method. Hishmith Kritz let out a screech. The cat continued speaking while smacking its lips towards Hishmith Kritz. Other than that, well, you have to be in the comparable status. Screaming Sky Nim, you would qualify, but that human would not. I chuckled. In short, Kim Yul has the authority to go to Constellation Killer's sanctuary, but not the qualifications to go to the 90th floor. Conversely, I have the qualifications to go to a 90th floor, but not the authority to go to Constellation Killer's sanctuary. One could say that each of us is missing one necessary requirement. It's okay. But put another way, it meant that we could compensate for what the other lacked. And Kim Yul and I were already bound together. We were in a relationship where we could call each other informally. Kim Yul SSI is my apostle. My hands and feet. So, he can go not as hunter, but as apostle of the constellation named Screaming Sky. Ha.
Ah.
Aha. Indeed. The calico cat looked back and forth between me and Kim Yul and then opened its mouth. If he truly is an apostle, it's possible. If the constellation permits, an apostle can possess the same qualifications as the constellation itself. Kim Yul regained his memories because of me and was revived by me. Now that I have been completed as a constellation, it is fitting to call Kim Yul my apostle. Not just Kim Yul. Estelle, Sylvia, the 4 demon lords, and the believers of the infernal heavens. All who received life from me are now equally my apostles. Therefore, this operation has become possible. Kim Yul SSI will cross over first, as my apostle, as our vanguard. Just as the ox that harvests ruins had once led its apostle, the Lady of the Golden Silk, to invade Raviel's world. This time, I will lead Kim Yul to invade the sanctuary of Constellation Killer. And as soon as you arrive, please call for me. Summon me. Then, I will rush over immediately with my apostles and followers all at once. All the pieces of the puzzle were in place. With the eye living in the labyrinth, we know the coordinates. With Kim Yul, we can enter the sanctuary. Since I am Kim Yul's constellation, I can respond to his call. Others, being my apostles or followers, can cross over with me. Everything we have achieved from the 10th to the 80th floor made this operation possible. Meow. Understood. At least from our perspective, there are no problems. The cat that bit a gold coin also guaranteed the success of the operation. So now all that was left was to execute the plan, but... Apostles? Followers? Black Dragon Master muttered bewilderedly. Wait a minute. I wasn't called out when Gongja was breaking through the heavenly floors. I'm neither an apostle nor a follower or anything. Then you can stay home and watch the house. Count fanned herself leisurely. Just so you know, I've become follower of Gongja. Being recognized in the heavenly floors as a follower was synonymous with becoming a follower of Gongja. Then the first person to become a follower was me. Crusader leisurely fanned not herself but the Count. Thinking about it, Anastasia wasn't called as a judge, huh? Is that so? She didn't meet the qualifications. That's regrettable.
Ah.
She often brags about how she was the first to become friends with Gongja and whatnot, but in the end, true camaraderie is proven in places like this, isn't it? Ahaha. I am, for now, a follower of my master too. One by one, Crusader, Venomous Snake, and Heretic Questioner spoke. Surrounded by the group, the Black Dragon Master suddenly glared at me with eyes blazing with some emotion. And as if she felt betrayed by me, she exclaimed. I'll convert. But weren't you an atheist? Chapter 376, The Place Called Sanctuary 1. 1. The declaration from Black Dragon Master that she intended to convert was no joke. You are recruiting a follower. Black Dragon Master becomes your follower. You can now bestow blessings and powers onto Black Dragon Master. Our contract was sealed merely with the exchange. Will you really believe in me? Yes. Really? Yes, really, so just hurry up and make the contract. That was the end of it. There were no other formalities. Is it supposed to be this rushed normally? Woof. That can't be right. The cat that bit a gold coin looked at us incredulously. It's ridiculous to form a follower contract without even offering a skill card. You guys are strange. Is that so? Yes. Above all, a constellation and a follower must trust each other. A follower needs to believe they won't be stabbed in the back by the constellation, and the constellation needs to believe the follower won't betray them. Moreover, a significant connection between them is required. I guess we belong to a unique case. However, this felt normal to me. Not only Black Dragon Master but Crusader and Count had also easily agreed to become followers just like that. This isn't normal at all. Meow. What kind of life have you been living? While the calico cat made a disgusted expression, the preparations were all finished. The raid party assembled in the spacious garden of the communal dormitory. A total of 12 people. Kim Yul, Estelle, Aberka, Sylvia, and the 4 demon lords were selected from among the vassals. The participants among my companions included Black Dragon Master, Heretic Questioner, Venomous Snake, and Crusader. Including myself, there were 13 people. That was the exact number to match 1:1 with the slaughter puppets of Constellation Killer. We could pretty much end most worlds with just this lineup. Surveying the might of the raid party, Sylvia clicked her tongue. Frankly speaking, Sylvia and the 4 demon lords, including Crusader, weren't skilled enough to confront Constellation Killer. However, they could certainly buy some time. While they held off, I would quickly eliminate the slaughter puppets and go to assist them. Constellation Killer is a foe capable of ravaging most world too. It can't be helped. If they didn't cowardly push with numbers, then I could have fought him fairly one-on-one. Family head. If what I heard from Estelle, didn't you also overpower the Devil King with numbers too? All right. Is everyone ready? Hey, Head Chamberlain Sylvia. Everyone else is ready to jump into battle, so why are you the only one slacking off? Hurry up and get ready. Fuck. I'm really going to quit the Head Chamberlain position someday because it's so dirty. Sylvia muttered as she stepped back. I turned my gaze and looked down at the snake bracelet wrapped around my wrist. Hishmith crits. Keek. Pinpoint the coordinates of Constellation Killer. The snake bracelet twitched its head and then slithered off my wrist. I felt its slimy touch wrap around the back of my hand as I walked over to Kim Yul. Then I grabbed Kim Yul's right hand. You temporarily transfer the ownership of the eye living in the labyrinth to Kim Yul. Slither. The snake bracelet moved from my fingertips over to Kim Yul's fingers. Kim Yul furrowed his brow slightly at the unfamiliar touch of snake scales. It feels odd. My chest feels a bit stuffy. Is this what it feels like to be surrounded by a constellation? Yes. It's like having the paper weight added to your breath. That's so. Has the family head always been carrying such burdens? Once you get used to it, it's surprisingly comfortable. Kim Yul just stared at me intensely without another word. Silence ensued. Only the snake bracelet on his wrist hissed quietly, repeatedly letting out low a soft sound. The eye living in the labyrinth manifests its authority. The eye living in the labyrinth begins to search the sanctuary of Constellation Killer. Searching in progress. I closed my lips. Could the snake bracelet really locate the sanctuary of Constellation Killer? It had assured us it was entirely possible, but I wondered if that was true. The time it took for a single drop of candle wax to melt and drip had passed. Search complete. The eye living in the labyrinth has pinpointed the sanctuary of Constellation Killer. Good. I exhaled the breath I had been holding. Yet, it was too early to relax. The army aiming to siege the fortress had only just discovered its location. Don't worry, Kim Gongja. Kim Yul broke the silence. The enemy does not anticipate our surprise attack. This operation will definitely succeed. Yes. But Constellation Killer is a hunter prepared for all eventualities. Even if unexpected, there likely is a manual for when his sanctuary is invaded. There probably is. However, he would never have prepared for an invasion by himself. Kim Yul took something out of his pocket. A hair tie. Not the yellow rubber band handed him in mockery by the villains, but the hair tie I had gifted him when I accepted him as my vassal. Constellation Killer will undoubtedly hesitate for a moment. All we need is that moment of hesitation. If you need 1 second, I will buy you that second. Kim Yul tied his hair with the tie. Tens of thousands of strands of hair gathered into a single bundle. Seemingly resolved, Kim Yul muttered softly. Teleport. Flash. A white light enveloped Kim Yul's entire body. He disappeared into the light shortly after, and I began counting in my mind. My lips twitched. 1 second. By now, Kim Yul would have arrived at the sanctuary of Constellation Killer. 2 seconds. Constellation Killer would have detected the intruder and immediately initiated interception. A normal constellation or hunter would be first shocked by the fact that their never-before-breached sanctuary was invaded. However, Constellation Killer wouldn't. He would simply act according to the preset manual. 3 seconds. But the identity of the intruder was someone no manual could account for. Because it was himself. Here, Constellation Killer would momentarily halt the interception to verify whether the intruder was indeed his exact double. Therefore, 4 seconds. Kim Yul could keep the promise he made to me. Your apostle earnestly calls for you. A voice echoed in my head. I maximized my aura to stretch out my sense of time. Regardless of how my time flowed, the voice coming from the isolated underground first floor from all stages sounded solemnly. Your apostle asks that you be with him at his location. Will you descend? Faced with this new message, I did not hesitate. To inform the raid party waiting around that I was deploying, I deliberately shouted. Yes. A black shadow covered the top of my foot. Under normal circumstances, I would have simply perceived it as being enveloped in black light. But in this severely extended moment, I could examine the details of the black light. It resembled human hands. Arms rose from the shadow. Fingers caught on the tip of my foot. Palms grasped my ankles. Arms painted in pitch black like noise crawled up innumerably. There were countless hands, but for some reason, I could distinguish each anonymous arm. They were differentiated. They were the hands, the arms, of the people I had killed, whose traumas I had glimpsed. Among them was Kim Yul's hand. I reached out and grabbed his plea. You respond to the call of your apostle. Countless palms crawled up and enveloped my entire body. Descending. And thus, I was transferred, buried in the black hands. 6 seconds. The next moment greeted me with a scene familiar, yet not. It was a junkyard. Outdated scraps of metal and emptied plastics were merely waiting for someone to pick them up. No one did, so the garbage piled up into mounds, all the way to the horizon. Summoned from the sky, I plummeted down looking over the junkyard that stretched to the ends of the world. You have entered the sanctuary of Constellation Killer. The sunset was dazzling. The glow of the setting sun struck past me and illuminated the junkyard on the ground. 7 seconds. Like the ancient ruins left in an old ruined city, the garbage was heaped into mounds. At the very top of those massive graves, like an orange half-peeled and discarded, plastic bottles dangled loosely from their labels. The labels, once blue, had faded to gray. The scrap metals were stripped of their coating, exposing the inner parts. In that place where all colors faded and all metal degenerated, there were those who brandished silver iron swords, their silver hair fluttering about. They all looked identical. 8 seconds. But they were not the same at all. 12 slaughter puppets charged towards a single human. They were in the middle of charging. They simultaneously sensed my presence and all at once, lifted their heads. My descent from the high skies met with 12 pairs of eyes. I drew my holy sword. 9 seconds. And I muttered under my breath. The sky that gathers screams calls its apostles and followers. Several apostles respond to your call. Several followers respond to your call. Pitch-black shadows formed around me, still descending from the sky. An apostle of the sky that gathers screams manifests. A follower of the sky that gathers screams is summoned. There were 11 shadows. Like fragments of a shattered meteor, we plummeted fiercely. The fierce wind grazed my cheeks. Initially enveloped in pitch-black shadows, my allies, as they faced the wind, shed their blackness revealing their faces. Some blinked in wonder, some furrowed their brows against the strong headwind, and others grasped the hilts of their swords, looking down at the ground. Transfer. And Black Dragon Master used her ability without hesitation. Black Dragon Master activated the instant transfer skill, collecting the scattered, falling allies one by one. She was a hunter with a keen sense of aura herself. Black Dragon Master wasted no seconds, linking the 11 members of the raid party from hand to hand. Kim Gongja. Black Dragon Master reached out to me last. Grab on. What was there to hesitate about? I grabbed Black Dragon Master's bare hand. 15 seconds. The next moment, we were on the ground. Constellation Killer was taking a defensive stance due to our emergence. But the time he was allowed was merely 6 seconds. Initially, he deployed a net to attack Kim Yul alone, then changed its formation to intercept me, and finally had to adjust again to respond to the 13 invaders. 16 seconds. 3 times, unanticipated situations successively hit him. 3 times, Constellation Killer was denied the time to adjust by us. 17 seconds. And we were not weak enough to fail to hunt a prey that had shown vulnerabilities 3 times. Swish! My sword was the first to slice through a slaughter puppet. It was the one closest to Kim Yul. With 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes, I sent sword paths in 3 directions, dismembering the limbs of the slaughter puppet. Erg. Following me, the next to swing weapon was Aburka. Aburka swung his axe, severing both legs of another slaughter puppet in one swoop. Under normal circumstances, Constellation Killer would have engaged Aburka in an evenly matched battle. However, Black Dragon Master's transfer was a surprise attack. Constellation Killer fell without being able to assume a proper stance. The fight that started as 13-13 quickly changed to 13-11. If you are confused by the earlier mention of 12 against 1 and now it's 13 against 1, note that the main constellation killer is not included in the earlier group of 12 and is likely commanding those 12 puppets. I see. One of the constellation killers among the slaughter puppets muttered. Screaming Sky. Are you a prophet? The balance of the fight rapidly tipped. The remaining 11 slaughter puppets were forced to scatter and fight us individually. Aburka and Kim Yul joined forces to slay another puppet. 1310. Did you foresee my plan to seal you and attack this place first? No. I am not a prophet. I am a regressor. Kim Yul, Aburka, and Sylvia teamed up and charged at a new puppet. By this point, the slaughter puppets had barely managed to regain their composure. Clashes began to erupt everywhere. The sharp cries of Black Dragon Master and the spirited shouts of Crusader tore through the sunset. A regressor? Impossible. I anticipated that you might be a time manipulator and prepared almost perfect countermeasures. If I had been alone, it would have been perfect. I charged at Constellation Killer. Seeing me rapidly approaching, Constellation Killer bit his lip momentarily. What calculations were being made in his head right now? How quickly was he reviewing the numbers? I had no way of knowing what was in his mind. But I clearly heard the voice that Constellation Killer uttered as he opened his lips. I discard the memories of the past 29 days. Chapter 377, The Place Called Sanctuary, 2. You. Why do you keep forgetting your memories? Lafanta Ejim turned his head towards the direction the voice came from. A woman was staring intently at him, resting her chin on her hand. Was her name Ivantia? To avoid change. To avoid change. Have you ever seen someone who has resolved to live for over 1,000 years? Lafanta Ejim opened his notebook and read the records about the woman. There weren't many lines. Originally a maid tending to a garden, she was ennobled above the aristocracy. She likes my face. She gave birth to my child. His gaze lingered on the last line for a moment. Child. Even now, the woman had a newborn baby on her lap. The baby reached out its arms saying,
Ah.
And the woman teased the baby with her finger. No. A hero like you is rare. To live 1,000 years, one needs a special resolve. Everything changes. A portrait painted to remember someone fades, and a sword intended to kill someone rusts. 1,000 years is enough time for things you want to preserve or destroy to change. That was a passage Lafanta Ejim had written in his notebook. Whenever he lost his memories, Lafanta Ejim read this passage. And each time he read it, he nodded slowly in agreement. I am weak. I don't have the confidence to endure for 1,000 years. There's no basis to believe I could endure it. That's why I discard time. Once you discard 1,000 years, it's merely a moment. If you fear betrayal, then just eliminate the time when betrayal can occur. The wind blew. The spring was mixed into the wind. The spring wind differed from the winter wind as it was a bit more humid, and that humidity felt softly at the tip of the nose. On the woman's lap, the baby waved its hands around, trying to catch the wind. Time melting away. That is my way. That's. You must think I'm foolish. The woman opened her mouth to speak. No, she tried to. Lafanta Ejim stood up, thereby pushing away the woman's impending intrusion into his time. Change is a human privilege. I wanted to remain human by having a child and leaving a lineage, but at the same time, I discarded my memories to avoid changing forever. I sought to remain human while simultaneously refusing to be one. Truly an oxymoron. The woman opened her mouth again. But Lafanta Ejim turned his back faster. But it doesn't matter. Though Lafanta couldn't see because he had turned his back, the woman shivered for a moment. From the tone of his muttering, "But it doesn't matter," she felt the presence of something very unfamiliar for the first time. After all, everyone deceives themselves into thinking they are human. As long as such people live in this world, I will always be more human than they are. The woman didn't know, nor could Lafanta himself know, that this was the last lingering impression left by the being named Kim Yul. The woman barely opened her lips as she watched Lafanta back getting further away. "Are you leaving? Just like this?" "Yes." "Wasn't it the agreement to stay only until the baby could walk? Why won't you allow anyone to stay by your side?" "Because it's not necessary." Lafanta glanced back slightly. "Perhaps there was a time when I too needed someone else. If that were the case, I can only answer you like this. It's too late. I know that you used me to become a noble. That too doesn't matter. However, as much as possible, use your power for whom it's not too late yet. That remains as it is, becoming the family motto of the Ivantia dukedom." There was no way the woman harbored any love or compassion for the citizens of the empire. She merely found a way to satisfy both her taste and her thirst for power. But still, why did Lafanta words remain as a family motto? "I discard all memories of Ivantia." With those words, Lafanta walked out of the garden. Transfer. The wind blew. In the place where spring had arrived, he no longer existed. 3. I discard the memories of the past 29 days. A flash of pure white light suddenly rushed to pierce through my body. I raised the holy sword to counterattack. While countering, I wondered where the slaughter puppets had gathered memories worth 29 days. Even if one had fought with the sword saint, where had the other 12 been? They must have been here. In this junkyard. Simply wasting time meant to be discarded. "Where do you think you're going?" Black Dragon Master shouted just as the flash emitted by Constellation Killer and my blade were about to collide. Her mirrors intervened and blocked the path between us. "If you want to kill Kim Gongja, you have to get my permission first. He's an expensive bastard." Pa Cheng, Clang, Chiang. 3 mirrors shattered as they intercepted the flash. But starting from the 4th mirror, the flash was slantedly reflected. The 5th, 6th, each reflection caused the flash to bend more sharply. Finally, it rushed back towards Constellation Killer. Although the strike was infinitely weaker than when Constellation Killer had launched it, but there was no way to avoid raising a sword to block it. Taking advantage of the moment when Constellation Killer was forced to block his own attack, I plunged towards him without hesitation. If it had been a year's worth of memories, we might have been defeated. The slaughter pupite couldn't block the combined attack of Anastasia and me. The holy sword sliced across the pupite's shoulder. 13:9. The difference in numbers between allies and enemies widened once more. But you couldn't bear even a month's time. Kim Yul and Aburka, leading a separate unit, actively used the numerical advantage. They helped the Crusader who was struggling to endure the fight. When any slaughter pupite tried to discard time, Kim Yul and Aburka coordinated their efforts to confront it. Because if you live longer than a month, that's when life begins. Bursts of sound erupted all around. To face an unknown formidable enemy like me, you needed to gather as much time as possible. But the longer you lived, the more memories you retained, the more anxious you became. I immediately dashed towards the next slaughter pupite. The slaughter pupite did not just let me charge, it unleashed a flash that burst like a meteor shower. I sought out the tiny gaps and took steps. As I veered left, the meteors skewed to the left side. Ku-woong! The flash exploded, shredding the trash in its path. A crushed pet bottle soared into the air. A snack bag was torn to shreds and scattered into fragments. Navigating through the trash that could no longer hold or confine anything, I reached right in front of the slaughter pupete. Fearing you might not want to discard anymore. I discard the memories. I have a pretty good idea how you ended up being 13 puppets. The pupete tried to discard its memories, but this time my sword was slightly faster. The situation was different from yesterday, no, from when I was ambushed tomorrow. There were no puppets clinging to my limbs, and instead, my comrades were plentiful around me. 13:8. You are a hunter who has cleared up to the 90th floor. But to climb to the 90th floor, you also have to clear the heaven floors starting from the 80th floor. I turned to search for the next prey. To break through the heavenly floors, you need a judge. You need someone else to become your follower. But you not only refuse to have followers, you initially reject the very idea of others being involved with you. Flash. A red beam of light soared up from a distance. The crimson beam, resembling spilt blood, pierced through the graveyard of trash and split the sky at dusk. I glanced over and saw Estelle, breathing heavily while gripping the hilt of her sword. A slaughter pupete collapsed in front of Estelle with a thud. 13:7. That's why you needed puppets. The laughter of the heretic questioner echoed through the junkyard. His laughter, unlike any trash there, was so cheerful it was almost eerie. The heretic questioner manipulated his fingers and formed a mystic sign. A storm brewed as 6 kinds of divine miracles overlapped. Black Dragon Master, wrapped in these miracles, pierced through the chest of a slaughter pupete with her right hand. 13:6. You must have relied on puppets every time you ascended to heaven. No, you had no choice but to depend on puppets. You not only distrust others, but you also find it dreadful even for others to trust you. Only the existence of puppets could you barely tolerate. Yuri ah. Cha-cha-cha. Venomous Snake's chi surged courageously. One of the 4 demon lords grabbed a pupete while Venomous Snake seized the opportunity to thrust. Infused with a pinch of happiness that humans, people, could savor in life, the master of Chinmumun slashed his sword. 13:5. You want to remain human until the end. 13:4. But you never trust people. 13:3. You don't believe that any 2 people are connected. That's why I said it. If I were alone, you would have one. 13:2. I don't think you are wrong. It's those damned bastards who are. It's the incessant wandering fools and the brute beasts of this world. But still. 13:1. Don't think everyone is just like you. I pointed my sword. Don't think only your blood is blood, Constellation Killer. The last remaining Constellation Killer knelt, his chin lifted by the tip of my sword. I, too, have obtained what I am now by shedding my own blood. The plastic pet bottle under Constellation Killer's knee crunched, creating a sound as it deformed. He was gasping for breath, looking up at me. And at my comrades standing behind me. The Constellation. A thin voice leaked from Constellation Killer's lungs. The Constellation merely strengthens those who already have power. Everyone present could understand. That Constellation Killer was beginning to leave his last words. Perhaps it was a warning or maybe even a curse, as fragments of words dripped from his blood-stained lips. Only those who have something left to sacrifice borrow power from the Constellation. Whether it be money, secrets, connections, or souls. Those who still have something left, ultimately, are enveloped in the starlight of the Constellation and continue their lives. Constellation Killer's voice was not desperate. His expression was not earnest. It was merely setting like the sunset that clung to the junkyard. gradually losing the color of blood. There are people who don't even have anything left to give. There are those who add day to day in a world where, whether they speak up or hold their breath, no reply comes back. Only you. Only you all. Being enveloped and living by the constellations. Why? It is an insult to those who can't even enjoy that. Constellation Killer looked up at me expressionlessly. If not everyone can reach heaven, at the very least everyone should start from hell. You must think I am foolish. But it doesn't matter. No. The person who replied no wasn't me. A man identical to Constellation Killer grabbed my shoulder and pushed me back, then walked up to Constellation Killer. Kim Yul looked down at Constellation Killer. Kim Gongja does not think you are foolish. He believes he has no right to think so. It is I who think you are foolish. And at the same time, it is you as well. Constellation Killer twitched his lips. There was no way to guess what he realized upon seeing Kim Yul right in front of him. Constellation Killer had no way to understand why there was a human who looked exactly like him here, if that human really was exactly like him, and if so, why he was hostile towards him. Thus, Constellation Killer's retort was more instinctual than logical. Aren't you afraid? And he lifted his sword. But, it doesn't matter. The sunset was severed. As the blade traversed the setting sun, it cut a life slightly redder than the sunset. Constellation Killer is annihilated. That was the finale of the most feared hunter among the constellations. Chapter 378, The Place Called Sanctuary, 3. 4. Constellation Killer is annihilated. Thud. Having lost, Constellation Killer buried himself in the trash heap. The silver hair fluttered as if spreading across the surface of water. It was as if one was looking at a pile of cut strings from a puppet. This world does not possess a constellation. A still voice echoed throughout the world. World Destruction's Condition 1 is satisfied. There are no apostles in this world. World Destruction's Condition 2 is satisfied. There are no believers in this world. World Destruction's Condition 3 is satisfied. From somewhere, the growling of a beast could be heard. Warning. All conditions have been met. Initially, the beast's growling only echoed from the outskirts of the world. But soon, it closed rapidly from all directions. The ground shook, and the mountains of trash rising on the horizon trembled. The trash from the mountain peaks tumbled down with a crashing sound. It was not the sound of a beast. It was the sound of this place collapsing and sinking. The world will be destroyed. The sunset shattered into pieces. The sky turned into a sheet of glass and shattered as soon as it became glass. The fragments of glass, still imprinted with the pre-split sunset, fell down. Kwong! A piece of glass, quarter the size of the sky, fell far onto a trash mountain. The trash mountain collapsed, spewing countless plastic bottles. The glass also shattered into pieces. Billions of glass fragments scattered, each still marked with the sunset, making the pieces appear red. So the garbage dump seemed to be sprinkling blood droplets in the air. It's beautiful. It wasn't hard to understand why Crusader muttered this absent-mindedly. Covered in cuts from fighting a slaughter puppet, Crusader looked up at the broken sky, clutching a wound on her forearm. It's like the world is blessing its own destruction. If destruction come like this, it's not too bad. If this is the scenery I'll see at the end. What are you idly critiquing here for? The Black Dragon Master shouted angrily. Hurry up and run away, you fool. Unless you want to die crushed under glass fragments. But Anastasia. Look. To run away from such a spectacle, it would be too inhumane. Stop spouting nonsense. I was forced into a promise by Nisha. If I don't bring you back safely, my remaining life will be joyless. The Black Dragon Master forcibly grabbed Crusader's wrist. Kim Gongja, I'll note down help as a debt. But first I'll take this fool back to Babylon, so do as you please.
Ah.
It's such a pity. Think about it. If I must die, I want my cause of death to be stabbed to death by the sunset. If I could just stay a bit longer. Transfer. A white light enveloped the two. The Crusader, filled with regret, soon disappeared engulfed in the radiance.
Then
I will take my leave as well, Master. Father. I will retreat first. Pop. Flash. Other companions and vassals also escaped from the collapsing world. In the next moment, only Kim Yul and I remained. We silently watched the world crumble into red. Suddenly I realized that there were only 2 people in this world now. I wondered if Crusader's oddity had been passed on to me. Thinking that the world had barely left anything to still be called a world, yet for some reason, I wanted to linger here a bit longer. Why was it a landfill? Kim Yul's voice was heard beside me. I did not turn my head. I simply looked up at the redness of the world side by side. While some relationships require eye contact to communicate, others are content with merely sharing breaths in the same air. Why was it here of all places? I have no fond memories of home. I lost my indoor shoes on Wednesday and had to wear outdoor shoes to school until Saturday. Right after class on Saturday, I came back and searched through the trash around the house to see if someone had thrown away the indoor shoes. In the world that only Kim Yul and I were left, his tone was a bit different. Maybe it hadn't changed, but rather momentarily returned to normal. I found one shoe, but couldn't find the other. You can't exactly go to school wearing only one indoor shoe. I couldn't find it even after Sunday passed, so I was about to give up, but on Monday morning, the remaining shoe was there. My father had found it overnight. I see.
Yeah.
But they didn't match. The sizes were different. I don't think my father stayed up all night worrying and caring for me. He probably felt like I was trying to get his attention by roaming the trash all weekend. Kim Yul muttered. That's the best memory I have related to my father. Kim Yul moved his hand. Only then did I turn my head to look at him. He was undoing the hair tie from his hair and putting it back into his pocket. Constellation Killer must have discarded all memories of Kim Yul's past. Why he chose this place as the scenery of his sanctuary, how he could have chosen it, I don't know. As the hair tie was removed, Kim Yul's tone returned to normal during those brief moments. Maybe even if forgotten from the mind, it's engraved in the soul. What a silly notion. But like this, it has adorned a corner of the tower. Including you and me, 13 people have seen this place.
Yeah.
And then, I thought I saw Kim Yul smile very faintly. After that day, a few pairs of unused indoor shoes began to pile up in a corner of the house. When I think about it, it doesn't seem like such a bad memory. Thump. Kim Yul elbowed me gently. I will go ahead, family head. This is no longer my home. With the word transfer, Kim Yul was enveloped in a light. And thus, I was left alone in the world. The horizon had completely collapsed. Stripped glass pieces from the sky had all crashed to the ground, and plastic and scrap metal scattered through the air. A pitch-black darkness swallowed the world from its edges. I finally looked down at the remains of the slaughter puppets for the last time. After capturing the sight of 13 decapitated puppets one last time, I let out the last voice to be recorded in this world. Transfer. You are being transferred to the 81st floor. Thus, the world closed its eyes, welcoming the pitch-black darkness. As soon as I returned to the 81st floor, I was greeted by the somewhat listless voice of a magician. "Good job, Screaming Sky. Even though it was you, I thought you might lose this time. But annoyingly, you killed Constellation Killer." The Wand of Ages stood there, leaning on a broken wand. In this stage still enveloped in darkness, the magician looked like a white orchid blooming this future sanctuary of mine. "You were out of options fighting, weren't you?" It was more than just my mind. If Raviel had hesitated even slightly, I would have been forever preserved here. "Yes. To give you an update, since you wouldn't know, all the constellations residing in the tower are in an uproar because of you. The death of Constellation Killer was just announced a moment ago." I shrugged my shoulders. Honestly, it's not the first time I've caused a commotion among the constellations. They should be getting used to my existence by now. How annoying. Do you only act particularly annoyingly in front of me, or is it just my imagination? Anyway, there's something I want to consult with you about. Look at you shamelessly changing the subject. The magician sighed. Well, losers must graciously endure their humiliation. What consultation? Is it perhaps a question related to your sanctuary? Yes. It's about the skill, 100 Ghosts Reincarnation, that I possess. I opened my palm. Skill card, open. Whoosh dash. Golden sparks overflowed from the center of my palm, soon forming the shape of a card. Plus. 100 Ghosts Reincarnation. Rank, SSS+. Effect, summons those you have directly killed. The dead do not inherit their abilities from when they were alive. However, if you wish, the summoned can inherit their memories and appearance from when they were alive. If you do not wish, they are summoned as mere monsters. Plus. The magician nodded after looking at my card. Right. It's your trademark, isn't it? The skill you've used most and owe the most to. So is there anything left to consult about it? Yes. Especially this part. If you do not wish, they are summoned as mere monsters. What about it? Can I decide what type of monster they will be summoned as? The magician blinked. That is. Wait a moment. Let me think. He paused, resting his chin in his hand, then glanced at me. First of all, I don't know why you asked such a question. Normally, when you summon the 100 ghosts as monsters, they take the form of skeletons. It's to maintain balance, of course. Imagine if they were all summoned as bone dragons instead. It would be disastrous. So, you can't really choose the type of monster. That part is not a problem. I waved my hand. I'm thinking of summoning them in a much weaker form than skeletons. Even weaker than skeletons? The magician furrowed his brows. He seemed unable to fathom my intentions. If that's really the case, then it's fine. But why? What are you planning to do? The only thing weaker than a skeleton I can think of is a slime. And what does this have to do with building your sanctuary? You'll know when you see it. I smiled. Let's start by defining a monster. How about a being without reason? I don't particularly mind, but don't play any tricks with this. Don't forget that the Tower Master has already shown you favor regarding your skills once. Not again. Of course. All right. I'll temporarily modify the skill for you. The magician tapped the ground with the end of his wand. The authority of the skill, 100 Ghosts Reincarnation, SSS+, is being modified. Warning. This modification is temporary. Even though he lost to me and his wand was broken, it seems he still has the authority to handle such matters independently. I half closed my eyes. Feeling my mind settle, I clasped my hands together as if washing my face. What came to mind were the 13 murder puppets that had just been abandoned and shattered in the world. The more precisely I recalled the murder puppets, the darker the ground beneath my feet became. It was a shadow. Just like when I invaded Constellation Killer's sanctuary, arms, identically painted black, were crawling up my ankles. Perhaps the only difference from that time was that there were 13 pairs of arms. Come up a little more. I left the arms alone. Whether it was because it understood my intention, or because it was the original instinct of the shadows, the arms kept struggling and crawling up my body. I focused all my senses to guide these arms to one place. The shadow arms grabbed my hips, climbed my elbows, past my wrists, finally crawling into the palm of my hand. The moment all 13 pairs of shadows gathered in my palm. 100 Ghosts Reincarnation. I spoke with intent. Activating the skill. Squirm. The arms, extending from the shadows at my feet, gradually sucked into my palm. They converged. The pitch black swirled into a point, slowly taking shape. The Wand of Ages, watching what I was doing, parted its lips in puzzlement. He must have been curious about which monster I intended to summon, but what reflected in his eyes was something entirely unexpected. A flower? It was a lily of the valley. The lily of the valley locked in my palm was withered. It stretched out its head, with 13 faded bell-shaped white flowers hanging from its stem. Yes. I carefully placed down the withered lily of the valley so as not to damage it. Squelch. The soil of the 81st floor, covered in mud-like darkness, gently accepted the lily of the valley. This child is Constellation Killer. If the condition is a being without reason, there's no need to summon it only as a beast. I planted the flower with 13 bell-shaped white flowers hanging in this world. I transplanted it from the world that had just been destroyed to this world, which was still shrouded in darkness. From now on, I will either revive the ghosts in human flesh, or simply transplant them as flowers. I turned to look at the magician. So this world will bloom with flowers that couldn't bloom in other worlds, with flowers that have withered and crumbled away. Right now, only one has been planted, but soon hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of withering flowers will be planted here. A garden of withered flowers. I smiled. That is my sanctuary. Perhaps the magician was not the only one who heard my vow. Your skill is being renamed. Always watching over me, the Tower Master seemed to reach out to bless me this time too, wrapping my skill card in white light. When the light subsided, the final destination my skill had reached was illustrated there. Plus. 100 Flowers Reincarnation. Rank, SSS+. Effect, you summon those you have directly killed. The dead do not inherit their abilities from when they were alive. However, if you wish, the dead can inherit their memories and appearance from when they were alive. If you do not wish, they are summoned as merely flowers. Plus. Someday. This place will become where millions of flowers dream of being reborn.